And good evening once again. Day 1386 of the Trump administration, night 3 of what has become election week in our country. 5 battleground states remain too close to call. Joe Biden has, by our count, 253 electoral votes. Donald Trump at 214. Much of the attention tonight on the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, where Trump's lead has steadily eroded as we've watched. A win by Joe Biden in his home state of Pennsylvania would make him the president-elect. That gets him instantly to 270. In Georgia, Trump's once substantial lead has also dramatically narrowed. Both are must-win states on the Trump side. Today at the White House, Trump again falsely declared victory, adding a laundry list of grievances, lies, complaints, allegations of cheating, crooked votes, crooked polling. We also heard from Joe Biden today after spending part of his day meeting with medical experts on the pandemic. The former vice president called for calm and patience as ballots are counted. Our country also set a grim new record today. 120,000 new cases of the coronavirus just since we last spoke last night. It erases the new record we set just yesterday. Especially for those who've been watching our coverage all night, knowing that the numbers are changing while we watch. We want to get the very latest on the count. So for that, back over to the board and Steve Kornacki. Steve, we watched the last tranche of numbers come in from Philadelphia.
Yeah, Brian, it was a pretty big moment there just in terms of how close things suddenly became in Pennsylvania. This is the statewide margin for Donald Trump right now. It is down to 26,319 votes. It is 0.4 of 1 point. And you mentioned it. Yes, it was Philadelphia. We got a batch of votes from Philadelphia, a little bit, about 13,000 votes. Biden, as has been the case consistently, got 90% of them. This is a heavily Democratic city. These are the absentee votes, the mail votes, where Biden's been doing particularly well. So Biden picked up 90% of that new batch, and it brought the lead there for Trump statewide down to 26,000. It leaves us in a situation right now that is this. With that a total taken out of the equation, there's probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 57,000 votes remaining in the city of Philadelphia. OK, so if we were just talking about Philadelphia, Biden is on course. Just 90% of the vote, 57,000 ballots, is on course to catch and surpass Trump. Then the question is, what is happening outside of Philadelphia? We are still waiting on some votes, mail, absentee ballots, from Delaware County, from Bucks County. We're waiting on some from Lehigh County. We are waiting on 35,000 of them from Allegheny County, where Pittsburgh is. There is a smattering of other counties around the state that aren't as big in population, but where you got 2,000 absentee ballots here, 1,500 there. And the pattern, no matter what we're talking about in terms of a county, in terms of its political leanings, the pattern has been Biden is winning the absentee vote in every county we've seen with at least 60% of the vote. So he's picking up votes everywhere. Again, there's a pool of 57,000 or so left in Philadelphia. There's a pool of about 35,000 left in and around Pittsburgh. And there's a pool of tens of thousands left in counties like Lehigh all around the state. And there is nothing we've seen tonight that does not make us suspect Biden in every one of those pools is going to be getting the clear majority of the votes. And so we said this earlier. The pace Biden is on is not just to catch Trump, but is to significantly move ahead of Trump in the vote count. We are waiting to see if there are any curveballs thrown during these vote returns that suddenly Trump is able to win the mail vote in a county. He has not done it in a single county yet. The pattern seems very clear and very unmistakable. So the situation we're in is we're at the mercy of these counties. We're at the mercy of their boards of elections. We're told by our own Chris Jansing that they are going to be working through the night. When they decide to provide an update, they provide the update. They report it out. It comes into our system. We may get another update from Philadelphia. What we know in Philadelphia, too, by the way, is they say they can do 13,000 ballots an hour. Mm-hmm. And they just released about 15 minutes ago, 13,000 ballots. So I wouldn't look for another update from Philadelphia, probably at least for another 45 minutes. But I don't know what timetable they're on beyond that. But again, if you got another update like we just had from Philadelphia, where they released 13,000 votes and where Biden's winning 90% of them, then this almost immediately, just that would basically have Trump's statewide lead. It would be cut in half right there. And again, if we get updates, similar updates from any of these other counties, it comes down 2,000 votes here, 3,000 votes there. So you are just seeing this very, very steady erosion of Trump's lead statewide. We need to know, again, there's no schedule here for these counties. They will update when they update. If they were being honest with Chris Jansing when they told her they're going to go through the night, then I think you can just expect a steady, if a little bit uneven, continuation of this trend. There is no reason to think that's not what we're going to continue to see.
And a couple more seconds here, Steve. People just tuning in, wondering why the concentration on Pennsylvania. We have razor thin margins in Georgia and Arizona and Nevada. Pennsylvania, because it's a must for Donald Trump. It's obviously the home state of Joe Biden. And for Joe Biden, it is a potential rocket. It's ball game to 270 if he gets it.
Yeah, there it is. Let's just look at the road to 270 map. Biden right now has 253 electoral votes. Donald Trump has 214. You see the states that are unsettled. If Joe Biden wins Pennsylvania, Joe Biden wins the presidency. 273 electoral votes. The rest of these become the exhibition games all of a sudden.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.